Hello gamers from around the world, this is Boxenberger, the video game enthusiast from Germany, and I would like to welcome you to today's episode of the World of Gaming. And we are here on a Saturday, Dutch. Yes, we are. Very unusual spot. If we move to the weekend, we usually move to a Sunday. But here we are on a Saturday. It was not possible to do the podcast on the regular slot this Thursday. It was my son's birthday, so I was busy. But we didn't want to miss this week, so I'm looking forward to today's show. And I want to welcome you, everyone who joins us here live today on this unusual Saturday podcast. And Dutch, my man, how are you doing today? Yeah. Yes, indeed. Absolutely. And we'll talk about all the games you've played because you've actually been busy. All right, but first, again, let me welcome our awesome community. Of course, everyone who joins us live here, but also everyone who listens after the fact, either here on YouTube or on Spotify, Apple Podcast, wherever you are listening. A big welcome. And Andrew in the chat says they can't hear you. Okay. Yeah, no. There is indeed. Okay. There seems to be a problem. But I've no idea why that is. There indeed seems to be a problem with... Can you say something again? No, that's not it. Yeah. Esky Boy in the chat also says, so, good lord. That we are off to a good start here. Why does... Yeah. It seems that OBS is not capturing your voice exactly. So this is weird. It is... I have no idea. It says it captures everything, but apparently it is not capturing everything. Very strange indeed. Let me see. Why is that? Can you say something? Okay. Let's see if this fixes it. Can everyone in the chat let me know now?
Hello.
You should be hearable. You should be coming out. You should be coming out. Okay.
For those who missed what I said, I've been fine. I've been getting out of my gaming funk and playing a few games, and we'll get into those shortly.
True that. So, chat, let us know if you guys can hear Dutch now. You should be coming through. He is back. Esky Boy says he's back. Okay, now we can start the show properly. Good. It happens. I've no idea. And honestly, is a really weird workaround now. I just put the sound of my headset on the stream now, but this shouldn't happen. Huh. I have no idea. Okay. As long as we can hear you now, I'm glad we can start the podcast properly. So again, a big welcome. The chat is filling up with a lot of familiar names. Great to see you guys. Hope everyone's doing well on this weekend. Dutch, before we get into some topics, of course, we need to talk about the most important thing in gaming, and that are the games that we are playing. So I know you've been busy, man. What have you been playing?
Yeah, so I've dived into quite a few things, and I'll finish off with the one that I've most recently played. So I downloaded a bunch of indie games that I've been playing. So getting outside of Nintendo, which I've naturally been playing Pokemon on. I also played Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on Switch 2 as well, just to see what that was like.
Is that already out, or is that the demo?
The demo.
The demo. Yeah.
Out in June, the full game.
Yeah.
So I downloaded the demo to see what it was like, just to debate whether or not to pick it up on Switch as well. I think I will at some point. It's relatively cheap. It's like $40, so it's not expensive.
Yeah, I pre-ordered that on the Xbox as well. I do already own it, and I've played it on PlayStation when it originally came out. But since I've really enjoyed playing through the first Final Fantasy Remake Integrate again, I decided to do another playthrough, and want to do that on my Xbox. Because then I can also play it on the Ellie. It's play anywhere. So
Yep. So no, that's again, it holds up well. A couple of little things that I hope that they kind of iron out for the full release when it goes on Switch 2 as well.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with performance, believe it or not. It's more things like graphic, like popping and things like that. But again, to be expected. I don't think many people thought something as relatively large and detailed as Rebirth would come out on Switch 2 that quickly, especially with its power.
Yeah.
So to be expected, but no, it's, like I say, quality for what it is. But back onto Xbox, I downloaded a bunch of indie games. So of course, Replaced.
So what do you think about Replaced?
Oh, it's nice. It's pretty. It's very Blade Runner-esque.
Yes.
Like a detective that's like breaking into this like big high secure place, and then everything goes wrong and you get chased for the opening sequence, and then you have to find your way back into it. And it's very interesting. It's again very pretty, the stylized version of pixel art that they've got going on there. Super pretty game. So I'm going to chip my way through it in little stages. But no, that was a nice start. Downloaded Super Meat Boy 3D as well and played a couple of levels of that.
I haven't played that yet. How is it?
I've been at. Yeah, it's as frustrating as you would imagine it would be.
That's why I haven't started 3D.
Yet. but in 3D. And downloaded the full version of Towerborn now that the full version of Towerborn is out. That's changed quite a bit as well. That's added a story mode. The beginning of I think an actual story to it, because of course when it was in preview it was more just do this opening level and then get straight to the tower and then go and unlock certain areas and expand upon it, and I've kind of changed that around a bit so you don't kind of unlock certain areas. Really, you do this whole opening story segment, and then you find your way back to the tower, and then you grab your initial missions, then go off into the world and choose what you want to do next. So it's really well polished now. It plays really well. I'll definitely be diving into more of that. And again, it's one of those games where you can do a few levels and then put it down and then forget about it, and then dive in and play a couple of levels and then just really pick and play. It's not one of them ones that you have to really concentrate on too much. It's just nice. And then played Mixtape, which is definitely not one you have to really think about because it's more of a semi-walking simulator / TV show. And that's the one I've probably played the longest because, again, it's more of a TV show and it's you just sit there chilling out whilst you kind of do some really basic maneuvers or walk ahead and things like that.
Does it deserve the high praises it gets? Because it gets tens all over the place, and
no, it's nowhere near as good as the Awful Escape. For me, anyway. But Awful Escape was awesome. That was about
that was fantastic. Yeah,
guitar playing and like it just the ingenious way that they kind of incorporated that throughout it, and it made it kind of more of a musical journey. Whereas this is, I don't know. I'm sure it's meant to be like 80s songs and things like that all the way through. But I'm yet to really hear any of the bigger 80s songs that I'm aware of, and a lot of them are like 60s and 70s tracks. I'm like, well, that's not really a throwback to 80s music. And I'm a real big fan of 80s, especially 80s rock. But I haven't really heard anything of that so far. And the story's a little bit more, I don't know. I'm not really on board with the story fully at the moment. And then, what else have I played outside of that? Then I have played and finished Final Fantasy VII Reunion Crisis Core.
Okay.
So again, a game that I picked up when it originally came onto the Xbox a couple of years back, and I played the opening 1 or 2 chapters at most at the time, and then this last week I played the remaining 8. So I just plowed through the story and finished it. But no, again, thoroughly enjoyed it. But I did it more so because I was like, right, I'm going to be playing through Remake Integrate again on Xbox soon, and then Rebirth again on Xbox soon. So I thought, right, let's get the prequel out the way of first, Crisis Core. Play through Crisis Core, do Zack's story and how Cloud came to be, and then get into Remake, because at the end of Crisis Core you see Cloud on top of the train going into Midgard for the first time. So then of course at the beginning of 7 Remake Integrate, that's exactly where it picks up. So you can just go from that to the next one and then going on to Rebirth. So I'm playing through those, and in the meantime, whilst I'm waiting to jump into Remake Integrate and then Rebirth, I've dived into older Final Fantasy as well, Final Fantasy VIII, which I've just restarted. Actually, the funny thing with Final Fantasy VIII wasn't even my favourite Final Fantasy game. And it is the only one that, since purchasing on Xbox, God knows how many years ago, I actually had never played at all on the Xbox.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, okay, fair enough. So
catching up.
Clean slate.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's me.
Sweet.
So some catching up on some games, and then I also downloaded another new one that came into Xbox today. The one from, I've got the name of it now. Let's have a look at my dashboard. Call of the Elder Gods.
Never even heard of it. What's that?
It was the puzzle game that came out on Xbox a couple of years back. They did a game on like a tropical island, and you had to go and find out what was happening and the mysteries and things like that on this tropical island. You'll remember it. Let's see if I can find the name of that game.
Okay.
And you'll be like, yes.
What's it called again?
Call of the Elder Gods.
Call of the Elder Gods. Yeah. Okay.
Now you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. Now I know. Yeah, I've never played that. Is it worth it?
Forgotten. I've yet to play it. I've just downloaded it. But I remember playing the original puzzle game that they did on Xbox. What was the game called again?
So in the meantime, chat, let us know what you guys have been playing lately.
Call of the Sea was the
one. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that was the one. That was originally. And I played that, I liked that, so I thought, right, we'll give this new one, this new story a go, and let's see what this story's about.
Okay.
And last but not least, started Planet of Lana 2 as well.
Nice. How do you like it?
It's just as beautiful, and this music's just as beautiful as the first one, and there's more characters and more information and more mystery in this one as well. So I'm enjoying it so far.
Yeah.
If it's anywhere near as good as the first one, which I thoroughly enjoyed, then I'm gonna enjoy playing and finishing this as well.
I need to go.
About all of these indie games is they're relatively short. They're like maybe 5, 6, 7 hours long.
Yeah. I need to go back and finish Planet of Lana 2. I've started that, but then I think it was Crimson Desert or Resident Evil or something that came out, and I was
probably Crimson Desert.
Probably. Yeah. So what have I been playing? Well, first let's see what the chat has been playing. BT Maverick finished Mixtape and Affiliate. Mixtape was an awesome experience, and Affiliate has a cool idea and sci-fi story, but that game is filled with a lot of indie jank. Yeah, I'm not that interested in Affiliate. Mixtape, I need to play that at some point. I want to see what it's all about, because again, it's getting tense all over the place. So yeah, I definitely want to check that out. Then we have Esky Boy. He says, other than Overwatch, I've been playing Black Jacket Tiny Bookshop. Interesting.
I have absolutely no idea what that is. To be honest.
I couldn't tell you either, but I do hope you enjoy that. H. Julia is playing a Mixtape and Forza Horizon 6. Nice. Yeah, Forza Horizon 6. I'll be talking about that in a second. Desi from the UK, our pineapple pizza loving friend, he says he's been playing flat out VR on Steam, and he just booted up Forza Horizon 6. Nice. On the VR train again. Sweet. So what have I been playing? I've played a shitload of Diablo 4.
Nice.
Been grinding away my Paladin in the latest season 12. Obviously finished the Lords of Hatred campaign the other week, which was a fantastic campaign, honestly. Probably even better than the main game campaign, which already was great, in my opinion. And now I'm in the end game, and they've changed so much about the end game with the war plans they've changed the progress system, and there's always something to do. And I've been having a blast with Diablo 4 again. They've introduced the Horadric Cube again, from Diablo 2, which allows you to craft your specialized items, armor sets, weapons, and so on, and it is actually really, really good. It allows for a lot of customization, and I'm really having a blast with Diablo 4. It's better than ever, and I'm absolutely having a blast with that. But then, yesterday, Forza Horizon 6 dropped into early access, right? And it was my son's birthday on Thursday, so he got the expansion pass, or the premium edition, or whatever you call it, and that allowed, since we are game sharing, obviously, that allowed me as well to start Forza. I have only played, I want to say, 3, maybe 4 hours or so I'm still super early. But obviously I'm having a blast again. Forza, I mean, yeah, it's getting also tense all over the place, and the biggest criticism I've seen, it's more of the same. And while that may be true, I mean, it's more of the same awesome racing formula, man. It's dropped that gorgeous, obviously. Yeah, looks and runs absolutely stunning. I haven't played it on the ROG Xbox LEX. I want to do that tomorrow, though. I want to see how that performs on the handheld. I've only played on console so far. But yeah, it is technically an absolute masterpiece, obviously. But then, yeah, the races are still a lot of fun. Great new cars, great ideas with building your base, that changes things a little bit up. But overall, yes, it's more of the same, but the Forza Horizon formula is just fantastic, and I'm having a blast. It looks and runs better than ever. Japan is beautiful. It's well designed. I feel like the racing from point to point things are a lot more thought out now. Not just the showcase races, but the actual point to point courses are a lot better than they were in Forza Horizon 5. So I need to play more, obviously. But so far, my first impression is absolutely great. It deserves the praise it gets. And I can't wait to see what Playground will do with Fableman. If they can keep that quality up in an action RPG, we are absolutely in for a treat, because...
That's the only thing that I always see as well is it's hard to discern how good the game looks until you play it. Because I haven't played it yet, and most people's videos on YouTube don't do Forza Horizon justice.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it looks fantastic. I mean, Forza Horizon 5 already looked absolutely fantastic, right? And still does look fantastic. But there are little details, the lighting is a little bit more natural in this one. And while it still has these popping colors from time to time, there is also like more realistic, especially during night drive or during rain drives. I feel like with the ambient lighting and everything, they've nailed it. It looks a little bit more photorealistic because the colors are not always popping. Like, there obviously are these moments when you drive through an alley with the cherry blossom trees, and the colors are absolutely stunning and popping. But when you drive through Tokyo, it's not like you're getting flashed all over the place with popping colors, like it was sometimes with Forza Horizon 5 when you drove through Mexico and some of the cities, and everything was like super colorful. This is way more realistic, and I actually like that a lot. Makes those moments also stand out way more when you have these flashy colors. So I'm having a blast again with Forza. Other than that, I have not been playing anything. Diablo and Forza, that's the two games I've been playing. Especially with Diablo, I'm just so addicted at the moment. But good stuff here. All right, Dutch. Let's get into some topics. I want to start with a Nintendo topic, actually. I don't know if you've seen this, but the Switch 2 got officially a price hike. And since we've always talked about the price hikes from Xbox, we talked about the price hikes from PlayStation, I thought we should also not just skip over this on the podcast, to be fair, right? So the Switch 2 prices were raised. The console is at $500 now. The 500 euros here, I have no idea what it's in the UK, honestly, but $500 in the US and Europe, mainland Europe. Well, what do you think? Does it come as a surprise to you? I mean,
Nah, not at all. We've been mentioning this for a while, like
yeah,
about the cost of everything now, and people want to dismiss it, but it is what it is. Which is, if you think handhelds like the Switch are going up, and we're still yet to see what the cost of the what do you call it, the Steam machine or whatever it is still going to be.
Yeah. Steam machine.
Still waiting to hear really what the price is going to be for the new Xbox and the price is going to be for the new PlayStation and things like that. And PlayStation's getting a handheld at some point as well. So yeah, it's one of those. It's not obviously it's not a nice thing to see, but semi-expected at this point.
Yeah.
On the flip side, from reports, it was the shareholders pushing for an increase as opposed to the company itself. So it wasn't like the CEOs were pushing for it. The shareholders were saying, we need to make more money on this thing, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it almost always goes, right? The people who give the money to the company want to see a return of investment.
Yeah.
I mean, I do agree. It doesn't really come as a surprise. It was expected that after Xbox and PlayStation doing the price hike, that Nintendo is following suit. And I mean, if we look at everything on the chip market right now that has anything remotely like RAM or SSD or something like that, some sort of memory right in it, the prices are exploding. It's still unfortunate to see, honestly, because, well, the problem with Nintendo is, right, they are making hand over fist with their software, way more than a PlayStation or an Xbox do, because for multiple reasons, their games never go on sale, never.
Nope.
Yeah, 5 years after release, you still need to pay full price for a game. To be fair, they have timeless games, right? It's not like you can play a Mario Kart. You can easily play that 3 years from now, and it would still feel and look like it just came out. However, with that, you would assume they could way more easier afford subsidizing their hardware. And yeah, for me personally, honestly, I still haven't upgraded to the Switch 2 yet. I'm still on the original Switch. I've talked about this on the podcast, that there's still no real must-have game for me on that thing. And let's be fair, the only reason why I would buy it is for the Nintendo exclusive titles. If I am in need of handheld gaming, I have the ROG Xbox LEX, and I play that a lot. But so I would use the Switch 2 only for the Nintendo titles, and Mario Kart is not enough for me to justify a purchase yet. I've always said this might change if, I don't know, if the next 3D Mario comes out or Zelda comes out. But honestly,
I know there's going to be a brand new Zelda coming out.
There is, but it's years away, right? I mean, this year, honestly, the only thing I'm interested in would be the remake of Star Fox that comes out on, I think, June 25th. That would be like the only one. But honestly, at $500, am I willing to invest $500 to play?
Think of the children, Boxy. Think of the children.
My children are happy with the PlayStation, the Xbox, and the original Switch.
I'm sure they'd be so happy with the new Switch.
Yeah, maybe. But honestly, they are so happy with everything else we have. No, honestly, for a console, like the Switch that I would only use for a handful of exclusives. At a price point at $500, it becomes really hard to justify if you play like one game a year on it, right?
I don't think you'd play one game a year on it.
What else would I be playing this year except Star Fox?
It depends. You might want to go and play one of the other Zelda games again.
If they do come out this year.
Enhanced.
If they do come out this year, right? Yeah, honestly, I'm.
And then your kids play Pokopia, you know.
They also happy playing Minecraft Dungeons 2 that comes out this year. They are crazy about Forza Horizon right now, right? They played more Forza Horizon already than I did today, right?
More than me.
Yeah. So, you know what I mean. It's getting tougher, and honestly I have a similar feeling about the PlayStation 6. If these rumors turn out to be true, and you position a PlayStation 6 at $900, maybe $1,000, then I look at my PlayStation 5 right now. How often do I turn that thing on? All right, the only game I'm probably going to play this year on the PlayStation 5 is Wolverine. I have no interest in Cyros, and other than Wolverine, they have nothing exclusively coming. And so if I think about getting a PS6 for the sake of argument, let's say $900, right? For a console that I use once, maybe in a good year twice.
Yeah.
It becomes harder to justify, honestly. And that's how I feel about the Switch 2 right now, especially now with the price hike. So they would have to have like really a killer argument for me to get a console just for one or two games a year, right? But yeah, it is what it is. On the good side, or good news for Nintendo though, is that they've confirmed that Star Fox is their second game now that is sold cheaper digitally than physically. All right, it's $10 cheaper if you buy the digital version, which I think is something every publisher should take notice, right? There's no reason why a physical game should be just as expensive as a digital one. Yeah. All right.
I agree. I mean, the one thing that Nintendo does have at the moment, though, is a lot of games coming out. That's for the first party and second party and third party.
Yeah, but it's
they have a lot of games.
It is the Nintendo jank, right? It is not like the heavy hitters. I mean, again, Star Fox the remake, cool, but
I suppose it depends on what you would define as heavy hitters.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, true. I know some of these sell like really well. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean. The Zeldas, the Marios, those are the IPs that I love about Nintendo. I'm not that big into Pokemon or. I haven't played Mario Kart yet. That's the one I missed out on. So.
And that's actually a little bit different. Mario Kart World being a slightly more open world as well for a change. So it's still got your standard tracks and things like that, but it's also like a big open map where you race from one side of the map to the other, and you can have a little bit in between.
Yeah.
You just go exploring. And
I know it's probably going. I would enjoy that for 20-25 hours, but then I would just not continue. Yeah, and it's not a reason to get a Switch 2 for $500. Andrew Culinani in the chat says Santa got my kids a Switch 2 for Christmas last year. definitely not for him to play Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom for the first time. Yeah, I might do just that, right? Maybe Santa is bringing that to my kids this year. Let's see. Dutch, let us talk about PlayStation. Since we are late this week with the podcast on a Saturday, not on a regular Thursday, right? We didn't have the chance to talk about a couple of things that happened on Sony's side. Let us start with their quarterly earning report. It seems that the price hike of the PlayStation 5 slowed down their sales. The PS5 sales now drift behind the PS4. Before that price hike, they were almost on par, like really, really almost on par like the PS5. But now it seems like the PS5 sales slow down. They still have reached already 93.7 million sales, lifetime sales for the PS5. But yeah, it shows, well, the price hike really isn't helping them to improve their install base. And I think, obviously, that's good that people vote with their wallet, right? The interesting thing that came out of this for me is, or was a statement about the PS6, where they have Hiroki Totoki said the following: "We have not decided on at what timing we will launch the new consoles or what prices. So we would really like to observe and follow the situation." He was referring to the RAM price situation. And then, like a day later, Kepler-2, the big leaker that has some sources at AMD, suggested that Sony is already looking into debuffing or buffing, nerfing it would be the right word, right? The PlayStation 6 with they want to reduce. Sorry, I was a little distracted at the moment because the gameplay doesn't work. Dude, today is not our best podcast.
Please give up the ghost as well.
Yeah.
There was another comment as well, actually, from whilst we're waiting to get that.
Yeah, sure. Sorry.
From the CEO, Sony CEO, a few days back, talking about that the PlayStation 5 is just a plastic box without content. Because, and then we're talking about that, and they're not talking about in general without content, because they've got a whole wave of third-party stuff that goes on there all the time, but they are a machine that heavily relies on third-party in order to do its job.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that. And he also was super excited at the next few years of unannounced games is unbelievably positive. There are no dire times ahead for the industry, was the quote. He couldn't be referring to their first-party roadmap, right? Because that is bone dry. Of course, in terms of like third-party releases, and especially with Xbox bringing all that good stuff over to PlayStation, there is no shortage of games to play on PlayStation, right? But in terms of their own releases, not so much. So yeah, coming back to the PlayStation 6, dude. So Sony is apparently looking into, de-speccing or nerfing the specs of the PlayStation 6. They are looking into ditching their target of 32 gigs of RAM for a 24 gigabyte solution. And
24 be enough.
24, and also reducing the bus bandwidth, of course, with that, because they really want to hit a certain price target that could be acceptable for the market, whatever that price target may be. But seeing that the relatively small price hike of the PlayStation 5 already slowed down their sales numbers significantly. I think they might be scared to launch a console at, I don't know, in the region of the PS5 Pro right now. The PS5 Pro is sitting at $900, and that's without the stand. If you want the full package with the stand, you're looking at almost $1,000, right? It looks like Sony is at least looking into not hitting that target, and for that they would take reduced specs into the system. I mean, at this point, if they target a 27 release or even a 28 release, the chip design, the APU design is already fixed and gone. But of course, you can still optimize towards in changing things like RAM. You can change things like bandwidth of the bus systems. You can still change the SSD size, stuff like that, right? So, Dutch, what do you make of this? The reduced console sales after them hiking the PS5 price, and the potential outlook of reduced RAM in the PlayStation 6?
First of all, it should be expected. It should be expected. When prices go up, less people can afford the console, especially one that's been out for so long and is now more expensive than it was when it originally released.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever been in a position in a console cycle where the consoles that we have are more expensive 6-7 years into their lifespan.
Yeah, never. That never happened in any console generation. Yeah. Usually we would be down $200 now.
Yeah.
With the price.
Now it's more expensive to buy it than it was originally, which makes absolutely zero sense. So yeah, they should be expecting the kickback that they're getting, where people just simply can't afford to upgrade to it. And especially with everything else that's going on at the moment, people have got their financial thoughts elsewhere. Like, no, I'm not going to be spending $500-600 on this when I need to be paying for petrol or fuel or energy or groceries. And kids, again, on the flip side, even if they are getting pocket money, it's going to take them a significantly longer period to save up to get a console than they did before. So, it's just that's across the board as well. Though I think, like I say, I think Nintendo will kind of yes, they'll have some smaller impacts, but they've already made adjustments to their forecasts.
Yeah.
With this in mind. Because originally they were forecasting, I think, an additional 2.5 million consoles in the quarter, and they've reduced it to 5 million or something in the quarter. So they've already reduced their expectations in line with
the price hike
that they're going to have from September.
Yeah.
So they're taking it on board already. They're very much aware, but I don't think PlayStation really took that on board. So
yeah.
It is to be expected. It is to be expected.
It absolutely is.
I was going to say, from a RAM perspective, while we would love to have 32 gigs in them, again, going back to price issues at the moment, even if a normal person was to go out and buy RAM, decent quality RAM, by the way, and we're not talking about like the low-OS, cheap, bog standard, off-brand version of RAM that you can buy anywhere relatively cheap. We're talking like good quality, high performance RAM that you would put into these machines. It is expensive. If you're going from 16 gigs to 24 gigs to 32 gigs, it jumps quite significantly.
Yeah.
So it's a pricing thing, and again, they don't want to lose control over what the price is going to be for the console when it is released as well, because they need to have some form of control over where they can actually mass manufacture this thing. So, to be fair, 24 gigs should provide enough in modern day. 32 gigs is kind of what we say is the perfect amount for a computer. Then you can go up to 64 gigs if you want a bit of overkill, but 32 gigs is like the absolute perfect amount on a gaming PC, or even if it was a console, etc. 32 gigs would be, God knows, GDDR7 by the time it releases, if I would imagine so. GDDR6 is already out. So it depends. It depends. But yeah, it's cost. It's cost. Every one of these manufacturers are going to be thinking, how are we going to keep the price in control? Not down, but how are we going to be able to keep it in control, where it's going to have the least amount of impact if it continues to surge?
I mean, it really depends on what price point you are looking at. I mean, these are two different discussions we had. I mean, with the PS5 right now, I think the problem with the PS5 right now, and by the way, the same goes for Xbox Series X, is that we are super late into the generation. So your hardcore fans, they already do own the system, right? They have been owning it for 5, 6, almost 6 years now, right? The console sales you are having right now are more like for the casual gaming market, and the casual gaming market, is probably not willing to pay as much as us hardcore gamers do, right? For someone who plays like games on a console every day, it's annoying if you pay $100 more.
Yeah,
but you can justify that, right? For the more casuals, it really hits the point where you would argue, am I going to spend that much money on a device that I might be using for 1 or 2 games a year, right? Similar like the discussion we had at the beginning of the show about the Switch 2 for me, right? And obviously that has a big impact. That has a big impact, especially when, like you said, everything else is exploding. Right? Gas prices are all over the place, energy, general, the inflation over the last couple of years hit hard. And then if you are not that invested into gaming, right, is it worth it for you? I think that's the discussion around the PS5. But for the PS6, that is a little different story because, you start all over again, right? You need to convince the hardcore gamers and as well to get them. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of diehard fans that would buy anything that Sony releases, but to get like a good, or continue that really good, strong market penetration, with the PS6, it is the question where you would position it, because somewhere in the ballpark of 1,000 plus minus, right? Even if it's 900, you would definitely lose the casual market.
Yeah.
Someone who just buys a console to play FIFA, maybe Call of Duty or Fortnite, is that someone willing to invest $900 in a console? And so I get the train of thought from Sony to at least look into that. I mean, we will see if this comes to fruition, right? To reduce the RAM in that thing, and just
and you've also got to think as well. There's a few nuances we've got to take into account. As much as we're thinking, 32 gig reduced to 24 gig, you're also thinking, right, okay, by the time this comes out, though, it'll be the next step up of RAM versus what the generation that we had previously was anyway. So yes, if we had 32 gigs of RAM and they reduced that 24 gigs of RAM, the quality of that 24 gigs is probably still going to be
noticeable,
double the effect.
Yeah, it's still definitely.
Yeah.
But then of course, it is an interesting thing, because if Xbox follows through with their plans, and obviously 32 gig for a new console in the year 2027, 32 gigs is what we would all expect, right? I would be absolutely shocked if anyone still continues with a console in 27 with 16 gigs of RAM.
Yeah.
So an increase, an increase absolutely is expected, and 32 would be the logical step to take, right?
Yeah.
But then again, the world is like it is. The RAM prices are insane. They are insane on PC as well, right?
Yeah.
I'm not buying this whole argument about, if the next gen console, whether it's PS6 or Xbox Helix, right, is at $1,000, people would not buy it and just get a PC. No, that's not what would happen, because the PC prices are also exploding. It's more the problem. People would argue, am I going to continue to play games on a new console at all? Right? Is this? It is not a PC or console discussion. It is a discussion about gaming, yes or no.
Yes, it's not even yes or no. It's can I justify? Do I play games enough to justify that price right now?
Exactly.
Is the discussion.
Exactly.
As opposed to, do I play them, or should I just stick with what I've got? Because Xbox and Xbox more so than PlayStation, but Xbox have already got in their vision, yes, we're going to have this brand new console, but we're not going to stop supporting the previous generations. We're going to support the previous generation.
Yeah.
So more so with that, it's not so much they're thinking, we understand not everyone's going to be able to afford to jump onto here, and we are building a machine that is going to just cater to someone that has more to that need. PlayStation, on the other hand, are more so the complete flip over. Right, okay, we need to kick people from a 5 to a 6.
To a 6. Yeah, it's because they have a little bit a different business model for their ecosystem.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. I mean, then obviously maybe that's the compromise. Okay, you have the jump is maybe not as significant as you would originally would have hoped for, going to 32 gigs and then just have 24 gigs. You would still get a better processor, better GPU, higher bandwidth on the buses and so on, but it's a little compromise. But that also means, okay, you might be falling behind, noticeably falling behind your biggest competitor, right? And with Asher Sharma being way more aggressive in terms of let's make the Xbox console the best place to play, right? You might also want to consider that. It's interesting. On the other hand, if they could, I mean, I highly doubt we will ever see a console launch at 500 again from Xbox or PlayStation, right? But if you could keep it at the price point of 600 to 700, rather than 1,000, you might definitely have a benefit in the casual market. So it'll be interesting to see how this turns out, right?
It'll be very interesting to see, but like I said, they've both got different directions, haven't they? Xbox have already set their sights on hitting a more niche sector, the hardcore sector of gaming with this hybrid console. So we already think, okay, pricing wise, it's going to be an X ballpark. Whereas PlayStation are still very much set in the living room space, let's say, and catering to the normal demographic. So they're pricing things kind of got more of an expectation on it to remain in affordable ranges.
See, I bring up an old argument of mine that I've brought up many times on the podcast. Nobody has ever confirmed or suggested that Project Helix is just the powerful beast.
No. I'm just saying should we say a more hardcore demographic?
Hardcore, yeah. And I still believe that Xbox absolutely will bring an absolute beast of a console, and it will be pricey. And I'm still in the mindset of after everything we have heard from Project Helix is that we are looking at a price point way above $1,000, $1,200, somewhere in that ballpark would be my personal expectation. However, when they first talked about this, it wasn't an Xbox announcement, more so an AMD announcement when they talked about the Magnus chipset, right? And they said, well, this is an architecture that is built to scale across different kinds of devices, from low power to high power, from console to handheld, to everything. It is a family of chipsets. And honestly, if a Series S or Helix S in that case would have ever made sense, it's the next gen. If you bring out,
I mean, if the one benefit to a hybrid system is that scalability in games is a lot easier.
Exactly, yeah. It's the PC version. The PC version is already built to scale. If the PC version of a game, there's no dedicated console version anymore of a game. If that version of a game is the PC version, it is already built to scale from super low power specs to ultra high specs, right? So no worries on the game side. But on the customer side of things, honestly, if you go out and say, okay, we have a console for the hardcore fans, for the ones that want really true power, we sell it at, just for the sake of argument, at $1,200. Yeah. But we have a Series S equivalent, a Helix S, at, I don't know, $500. That would be the absolute logical thing to do, because, and I've said this to you before, the problem with the Series S never was that it's holding game spec or any of that bullshit. But it was too close to the Xbox Series X, right? Yeah. We were talking $500 and $300 when it launched. And you could argue, oh, that's almost double the price, yeah. But at the end of the day, it's a $200 delta. And so you really think, okay, why not invest $200 more? I own this console anyway for 6, 7, 8 years, right? And just get the good one. I just feel like Series X and S were too close together. But if you have like in my example that I just gave, like a €700 price gap, and you have a super low spec Helix S at $500 or so, right? And a super powerful at $1,200. That would make much more sense than the €500 and €300 euro versions that we got with the Series X and S at launch. So, yeah, interesting times, man. Interesting times. We shall see. Let's stick with PlayStation for a moment. What was also interesting earlier this week, and that's why maybe because it happened like already 6 days ago, but we haven't had a podcast in the last 6 days, so we have to talk about this today. Interestingly enough is Sony laid out their AI plans for PlayStation. And the Sony Interactive president and CEO Hideaki Nishino, I hope I pronounced his name right? Anyway, laid out their plans, and he said, quotes like, "We believe AI will unleash the creativity of our studio. AI will play a big role in the development of our games." Stuff like that. They laid out their AI plans, that they've partnered with AI studios to like really use generative AI, AI technology for their game development to not just speed up the development times, but also the quality, as they would say. And I know this is a very sensitive topic in the gaming space, right? And it is interesting to see that Sony is openly addressing, yeah, we want to use AI, and not just AI for upscaling or stuff like that. We want to use generative AI to develop games faster, to improve the development pipelines, to improve the quality of games, while Microsoft is honestly, at least openly, dialing back on that, right? Microsoft, after Azure took over, everyone was like, oh, that AI chick, she's gonna she's gonna bring AI and ruin everything. But then at least openly, right? The exact opposite happened. They stopped developing Copilot for the consoles. They removed that from the app. They came out and said, yeah, games are, and I'm paraphrasing now, art, and we cannot use generative AI or generate AI slop in video games. And Sony's doing the exact opposite. That's what is happening here.
I think it's a funding aspect. I think if you want quick results, not necessarily great results, you're going to put money into AI because it'll get you quick results and it'll allow the remaining artists they do have to refine the AI slop that has been generated into something workable. Whereas on the flip side, if you're willing to put the money in, you don't use AI, you use the talent that you have to create natural art that's created by people. It's again, we're talking about directions and strategies of each company. One company is looking at cost reducing methods in order to generate games. The other one's looking at, we need to dial back on some of the things that people hate and don't want in games and get people back on side. Because ultimately, let's be brutally honest, Xbox has lost a lot of favour over the last 2-3 years, a lot of favour.
True.
After the acquisitions went through, nothing's really went to plan. Things have been getting worse. Consoles have been completely disregarded. Games are going to every platform, and again, we've both said we don't. It's not a case of we don't want other people playing games, but in order for gaming as a sector to remain competitive and to push boundaries, you need competition, and the only way to have competition is to have platforms have their exclusive products. Because if you don't have those exclusive products, there's nothing to differentiate them. Regardless of what the hardware is doing, it's the software you play on that hardware. And if both platforms have the software, the only thing left is the hardware. And the general masses, don't particularly give a shit about the hardware aspect of it. They care whether or not they play all the games.
As much as it pains me to say, I agree.
Has every game, If the PlayStation 5 base model can play everything Xbox has to offer and everything PlayStation has to offer, why would anybody get the Xbox? That is the core of it to the end. And ultimately, the platform, the branding, everything took a nosedive because people kind of clicked onto that and they went, I don't need to have an Xbox, do I? I just need a PlayStation. And I don't use Gamepass for everything that comes out because Gamepass was at that time $21, $22. And if we're talking about 20 odd or 26 in America and 27 or something in Canada and 22 in Europe, 22 in the UK, if it's at that price, you're thinking, I don't play all of the games that are on there for that price, so I'll just pick up the ones that I actually want and I'll get the Xbox games that I want on my console.
I agree. I think it's been proven that Game Pass is not a system seller. It is a fantastic service, without a doubt. But Game Pass has been around almost 10 years, 9 years now, right? and it never pushed the needle for them. Obviously, you could
I
argue.
mean, it kind of did, but I think it's already hit almost its ceiling.
Yeah.
You're talking about like 30-odd million users, maybe 40 million users on Game Pass across its different sections, but that's, I think, as big as it'll ever get.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, maybe that would be different if it were if the games were actually exclusive. If you,
I think it'll be
but you need, but you know that I think that the thought process of people would be different. They would get the console or buy into the Xbox store on PC because of the games, and then stay for Game Pass, but not vice versa. You're not getting out there and saying, well, am I going to buy for $600 now a Series X to get Game Pass? Or am I going to get the PlayStation and just buy the 3 games that I really, really want on PlayStation then? And get the benefits of PlayStation. Yeah, I agree there. I don't think...
And on the flip side as well for Game Pass, we may see some growth again, and this might change people's perspective when they go down the routes that we've mentioned that they're looking into.
Exactly.
An Xbox specific version of Game Pass where it's only Xbox first party titles. Then people might go, now that's something that I want, because that means that I can forget about...
Not if those games are on PlayStation. It comes down to exclusives. Game Pass is not a system seller. It is a reason for people that do have an Xbox to subscribe to it and stay in the ecosystem. I was
talking about more of Game Pass's ceiling.
Yeah.
If you open this up, the ceiling of Game Pass
would increase. I agree.
You can select what you have.
Yeah.
There's an Xbox-only version. There's an all-in-one version.
On that, I do agree. Yeah. Yeah, but coming back to
personally for me, on Game Pass, if now I resubscribe, now it's back down to $17 because of course it's $5 cheaper. Now it makes a little bit more sense again. Beforehand, I was paying $22, and I wasn't really playing on the Xbox, so I'm like, Right, because I'm not really playing on it at the moment. I'm not paying 22 quid a month for something I'm not using. Now it's back down to $17. It sounds silly, but even though it's only a 5 difference, it makes that difference. You think, no, it's a little bit more justifiable again.
Yeah, absolutely is. It absolutely is.
And again, if they did it again, and this is not because I don't like indie games, but if they did it again and said, okay, we've got a branch where it's just Xbox games, there's probably a good chance that I'll just reduce further and just go down to the Xbox only one.
Yeah, I agree. BT Maverick in the chat says Game Pass marketing is as poor as the Xbox marketing. When most gamers don't even know what Game Pass is, then that's a fail. Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's the general problem, not just of Game Pass. Like you said, it's with Xbox in general, right?
And the funny thing is, Boxy, as well, I would say about the marketing aspect of it is only people in Europe know how bad Xbox marketing is.
Yeah. I agree.
People in America don't truly understand how bad Xbox marketing is because all of Xbox's marketing budget primarily goes to
the United States.
Americas.
I know.
Yep.
I know. I honestly, it's really weird to me to still see lots of people that actually play video games but do not know what an Xbox is here in Germany.
Yep.
It is so weird. Yeah, I have colleagues at work that absolutely love video games. I have a colleague who plays like crazy on the PlayStation, enjoying Crimson Desert right now. But then Xbox. Yeah, I've heard about that, but I don't know what it really is, what games they have, you never even heard of Game Pass. It is like, it's not just the casuals outside, right? It's really people that are at least to some degree invested in gaming. And then
one of the casual guys on my in my team messaged us yesterday evening saying he's just bought a PS5 Pro for GTA 6. Can my TV play 120 hertz? I was like, it's unlikely. I was like, you're gonna have to buy a new TV.
Yeah.
So, Okay. But that's kind of the example of what
Yeah,
they're dealing with. People
it's
automatically just go PlayStation 5 Pro,
it.
GTA is coming out. I want the new PlayStation for GTA.
You need to. Xbox needs to do two things, right? They need to have a unique selling point, and obviously that's not Game Pass.
No.
So yeah, you have to have exclusive games because what else is there, right?
Yeah.
And we earlier talked about this on the show, right? Am I getting a Switch 2? Why would I buy a Switch 2? I do have.
Yeah, you're not a Pokemon fan.
Yeah, no, but it is the only reason to get a Switch 2 is exclusive games, right? For me personally, because
Well,
I do have everything else, right? And the same goes. Why do I have a PlayStation 5? I built my library mainly on Xbox or Steam, right?
Yeah.
But why do I own a PlayStation 5? It's for the exclusives. It's the only reason to get multiple consoles. It's the only and yeah. And if you only buy one console, why would you get the one that plays less games? Yeah, because Xbox doesn't have the PlayStation exclusives, but PlayStation does. It is what it is. But coming back to the AI thing, that really surprised me how open Sony addressed that. And I was really surprised, and it just shows how out of touch Sony seems to be with their fan base and community over the last couple of years, because you might use AI, and it's hard to believe that Microsoft isn't using AI at all, and the studios are not using AI at all. But to publicly announce that, remember the backlash of DLSS 5. Remember whenever there was a game where they found out, there was a huge backlash on Crimson Desert, where the developers forgot to remove a couple of AI generated assets that they used for playtesting. And there was a huge backlash. The usage of AI in the gaming community is so sensitive, and then to just come out, we don't care if the community wants it or not. We are openly bragging about this, right? That's the one thing. On the other side, how do I phrase this now that people do not misunderstand me? But AI is a tool you cannot ignore. It is just what it is. And there are multiple aspects on how to use AI. If I would be absolutely surprised if not at least 90% of the code generated is now generated by AI. You cannot ignore how good AI is to generate code. If you want to really write code all by hand in the year 26, you do not stand a chance towards anyone else. AI is really good in writing code. AI is really good in generating certain kinds of assets. It's just what it is. And let's face it, not every developer is also top notch. If I look at some of the writing in some games, I'm telling you, dude, AI could have written that better. It's just what it is. So ignoring AI is also not possible. But then I think about what makes truly great games great.
Yeah.
And think about the games that had impact, that lasted with you, that stuck with you. If we go back to, let's stick with Sony example, since Sony brought this up. If you go back to The Last of Us 1, and an AI wouldn't have been able to write such an impactful storyline, to get like the nuances right. So I'm not per se against you using AI. It's the question is how you use AI and for what. I'm not against using AI to generate code. Everyone does it. Everyone. And 100% every Xbox studio is also using AI to generate code. There's no way around it. It had for the better of 2 or 3 years, no one writes code fully by hand. Yeah, impossible. You wouldn't be able to keep up. But I would be absolutely against writing main story plots. I would be absolutely against like generating main characters with AI. Would I be against it to use AI to generate texture asset for rocks? Absolutely not. So it's a thin line to walk, right? And in how to use AI to speed things up, to make things cheaper, to do bug fixing, to do I don't know what. Yeah. But still keep like the heart that only a really good developer, human developer, can bring into a game. It is a thin line to walk. However, no developer should be openly admitting that. Honestly, the mindset in the gaming community is so against AI that I was truly surprised by how openly PlayStation, well, almost bragged about this. So I don't know. What are your thoughts, dude?
Yeah, again, I'm kind of semi in the ballpark of yourself. I don't care on some of the background things, helping them make massive worlds and kind of generate the basic landscapes that they can then go on and mold to and add and then add to. Because again, as much as you can ask AI to generate a landscape and fill it with trees and rocks and things like that, you can only humanize and make it a little bit more sense with the human touch. So yeah, I don't mind like, okay, generate this particular landscape full of rocks and stuff like that. But then only a person would know how to go, right, okay, but then over here we need this base or town, or over here we need this city, and on the way to that city we need to have certain little things that make it look like it's been lived in, so we might need a little blah, 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 blah. And that's the human touch that comes into it. So yeah, don't mind much the initial steps, like, okay, no AI writes scripts, no AI writes dialogue, no AI creates the characters. I wouldn't even let them do the NPCs because they would make some absolutely atrocious NPCs. I would let all of that type of stuff, the main core aspects of the games that matter, remain with people. And again, like you say, you can't avoid AI. There will still be some AI in games. And there'll be uses for AI in games. There is going to always be use of AI. AI upscaling is commonplace now.
Yeah.
There's always going to be something that is requiring AI assistance. And as you say, code generation is made a lot quicker with the assistance of AI now.
Yeah.
Especially significant chunks of code writing. That's not to say that people aren't there, because a good code writer needs to be able to go in and understand what they've wrote and understand what's wrong if AI has generated faulty lines of code.
Yeah.
So you'll still need the people to go in and refine those lines of code, or even say, okay, no, I
absolutely
don't quite like this part. Exactly. So, whilst I agree there, I also applaud the kind of straightforwardness of Xbox to say we're kind of taking a step back and we're not going to have our games filled with AI slop. Whereas PlayStation, on the other hand, are just kind of saying, nope, we're just going to fully embrace it and we're going to go full steam ahead. And That seems a bit weird. It does not fill me with confidence going forward.
Yeah, me
They're
neither.
taking a step back from quality
Yeah,
that we know them for, and
exactly. That's what they are gambling with, right?
yeah,
Whether the PlayStation heavy hitters are your personal taste or not, but you can't argue that a God of War and The Last of Us and a Spider-Man or whatnot aren't quality games, right? But yeah, seeing how long AAA development takes these days, seeing how they really screwed up their pipeline by heavily investing into games as service titles, then canceling all of those, and now having nothing left, and they can't afford to wait another 7 years until Bend Studio, for instance, brings out their next game. They have to kind of speed that up, and I think that's the predicament that they are in right now. Yeah, how much can they trade off quality towards AI? Yeah, BT Maverick in the chat says PlayStation knows the media won't cover their AI like they would cry for murdering for Xbox AI. Yeah, that's also a thing. We have two different kinds of reporting on things. The outcry was definitely not that big. DLSS 5 was bigger, honestly. So yeah, we shall see where this AI future of Sony will take their games, right? Dutch, let us move over to Xbox. We have a couple of things got leaked this week on the Xbox side of things. First and foremost, new controllers leaked. And I'm not talking about like a new design or something. They actually two unannounced Xbox controllers surfaced. One was like a cloud pad, a controller that is directly connecting through Wi-Fi to the cloud, right? They look more like not like a controller, but
look like a Super Nintendo controller.
Yeah, like a Super Nintendo controller, like very unergonomically weird. But those are targeted obviously for cloud gaming to reduce latency by basically copying the concept of Stadia, Google Stadia. They had that as well, where the controller not like pairs with your TV directly, but directly pairs to the cloud and then reduce latency. Yeah, so if you, for instance, today on a LG TV or Samsung TV boot up the Xbox Cloud app, you would have to pair like a controller via Bluetooth to the TV, and you basically remove that Bluetooth latency. Yeah, through that concept. The other leak that surfaced was for an Elite Series 3. Yeah.
Yep.
That also features apparently, and this is not a leak from like an alleged insider or something. This was leaked through a certification process in Brazil, right? So this apparently features Wi-Fi 6, the Elite 3. Bluetooth, obviously, it will still have a 3.5mm jack, an interchangeable D-pad again, pedals will be back. It has two new scroll wheels, trigger locks, a new pair button that can switch between the local mode and the cloud mode. So the Elite 3 apparently also features directly connecting to the cloud. And it will have a removable, rechargeable battery pack. So
the one thing that they don't mention that everybody really wanted and kind of needs going forward. In fact, there's a couple of things that they need to address with this thing anyway when it does officially get announced. One of the things that they could have, that we don't know yet, is does this thing have Hall effect joysticks that would stop stick drift?
This was not confirmed through that particular leak from the certification process, but other rumors suggest that they will have Hall effect sticks in the Elite 3.
You would hope so.
We would absolutely.
Stick drift.
Yeah.
Secondarily, build quality for the bumpers.
Yes.
Which is the main failing points of the Elite 2. The Elite 2's bumpers and triggers are horrific.
Yeah.
They're significantly worse than the Elite 1. I
True.
don't understand what happened. Because all of my Elite 2s have issues with the bumpers. All of them.
I absolutely agree there. Also, like UK Desirous in the chat says, it needs grips that don't peel off. Yeah. The build, the general build quality, triggers, like grips and stuff, need to be way more robust. The problem with that would be, how would you advertise that? Because honestly, they promised us the exact same thing. Improved build quality, general build quality with the Elite 2.
Have a look at your competitors. Have a look at, for instance.
No, I'm not saying it's. I'm not saying it's impossible, but they already promised us that when they made the jump from the Elite 1 to the Elite 2.
Yeah.
They promised, this is much better, and it will much better build quality, and it will remove all the issues we had with the Elite 1, and then it was actually worse. So
look at for instance, look at the quality of the Switch 2 Pro controller.
Yeah.
It has none of these issues. None of these issues. Granted, it is cheaper, but that's not the point. You can build something that is sturdy enough.
Honestly, the Xbox regular Xbox controllers do not have that issue.
No, you're right.
I'm using, for instance, my Starfield controller for 2.5 years now on a daily basis, and it also has these rubber grips on the backside, super stable, no trigger problems or anything like that. Nothing. So you would assume that a regular controller that cost, I don't remember, $60 or so at the time, right, would be and then you have the Elite for $150. You would assume that this build quality is the same, or at least, or better, obviously. So I mean, listen, I kind of want a good Elite 3. I would be up for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I do not like that my Elite 2 still doesn't has the share button. That's honestly the main reason why I don't use it that much anymore, because I like to take screenshots and clips that I can share on socials and so on.
The thing is, on this Elite 3, I can't see a share button either.
Exactly what I was wanting to save. When I looked at these pictures, I didn't see the share button. I was like, really? If you want me to buy a €150, maybe €200 controller, and you do not have the convenient feature of a share button that is on every base controller for 6 years now, almost 6 years, I'm not getting this. You cannot convince me to, because it's a little bit more comfy, or it has a removable rechargeable battery pack or something like that. I do not care.
I'll be sticking with a regular controller.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This is this would be ridiculous, right? I really do not care for the cloud mode. I'm not using cloud at all. Honestly, I don't know anyone who does. There was a time when I played a little bit on cloud. That was before the original Rock Alley came out. I used it at least at home, sometimes in bed. I had one of these, little clips where I could plug the phone in. Wasn't super comfortable though. But ever since, there's no need for me to use cloud. I have a Rock Xbox LEX now. I had the original Rock Alley. I had a Steam Deck before that. I don't need. I don't need cloud gaming. So I couldn't. Do not care for that. And everything else just seems like, well, I could just stick with my Elite 2 that I do already own, right? I have an interchangeable D-pad there. I can lock the triggers in there. That's cool. There are 2 new scroll wheels on this thing that where it's not really clear what they are for. I've seen people talk about it. I couldn't find an official source on that. But so take this as a rumor. Some suggest that the thing has a built-in speaker and mic, and with that you can like switch in between volume in between party chat and in-game and stuff like that. I don't know why you would need 2 wheels though for that. I don't know if you do have any ideas.
Nope.
So maybe who knows, they have a cool feature. But so far from the leak, I'm not really that convinced that this is for me. If you are heavy into cloud gaming, and you do not own an Elite 2, maybe. But then I would assume that someone who is playing heavily on cloud, this is maybe a wrong assumption, but I personally would assume who's using cloud only, it's probably those people that are not that heavily invested in gaming and do not want to invest in a Series S or Series X, right? But would they invest? And I would assume, since the Elite 2 cost $150 at the time, I would assume that an Elite 3 will be now 7-8 years later at least $200, right? Would you buy a controller for $200?
Nope.
Let's see. I would absolutely assume they will announce this on at the showcase in 3 weeks, right? And maybe they will blow us away with some of the features, some good stuff. But so far, from what we've seen from the leak, the design looks very bland. Honestly, but could be a prototype that they have provided to the regulators, right? But yeah. BT Maverick asks in the chat, do you guys think the new Xbox controllers are finally getting haptic feedback? I would hope so.
Probably just a more refined version, because we have a haptic feedback already. It's just not being utilized.
Well, we do not really have.
It's not to the same degree as PlayStation.
Exactly.
But even then, on PlayStation's games, it's also not fully utilized all of the time.
Barely in any game. And that is probably the biggest issue with this. I mean, if you look at the Xbox install base, how many gamers would actually get this Elite 3? 1 million? Maybe 2 million? I mean, and even 2 million would be a really high number. But there will not be that many users. And then would you assume that developers would put in the effort in their games to develop for such a small install base? If you are I don't know, developing 007, right? Comes out in next week, I think. And you would say, okay, from the 35, 40 million Xbox users, only 1 million will have the Xbox Elite controller, and only 100,000 of those will be the ones that actually buy our games. Do we put in time and effort to optimize our game for haptic feedback on the Xbox Elite 3?
It wouldn't just be in the Elite 3, it would have to be in all of the models, because haptic feedback is in the standard PlayStation controller.
Yeah. That is true. If it works the same way. Yeah, but that's the thing. We really do not know.
As I've mentioned, the only one to truly take advantage of haptic feedback fully was Astrobot.
Yes. I mean, there were games like Horizon Forbidden West that also utilized it really well. When Aloy draw the bow, and so there have been examples, but even on PlayStation, at least third-party developers, let's put it this way, third-party developers are not really putting in the effort. And I would assume it would be the same on Xbox. If really if haptic feedback comes into the standard controller of Project Helix, and you suddenly have a larger install base across Xbox and Sony then, and the haptic feedback becomes more of the standard, then I would assume, developers will jump on that. But even for the much bigger install base of a PlayStation 5 with 93 point something million units sold, and every of those 93 point something million users does have haptic feedback, because like you said, it's a standard controller. Developers are not optimizing for it. So, I mean, I would love it. I truly do like the haptic feedback on the PlayStation. It's great, right? But knowing that probably a lot of games wouldn't support it, I'm right now with the leak, I'm not really convinced about the Elite 3. Not for a price. If it would be $60, obviously, but it will be somewhere in the ballpark of 200 euros, 200 US dollars, whatever.
I'm not going to bother with the next one. I'm just going to get the standard controllers.
That's the thing, and especially if it's really missing the share button, that's a no-go. Then I wouldn't be using it, right? So let's see. I think 3 weeks from now we know more with the official.
God, we're getting into
the showcase season.
Showcase territory again.
Time flies.
Flying.
True. All right, Dutch. Another interesting tidbit of news got also leaked. Xbox is looking, especially in the Asian region, into an Xbox disc to digital program, where you would be somehow able to convert your disc into a digital version of the game. Would you be interested in something like that?
No. No, unless it's like you can do your old games into digital versions, then fair enough. Then I don't have to worry about finding the discs anymore. But I
don't own discs anymore. Honestly,
I don't buy physical anymore.
I went fully digital during the 360 generation. The only time I went physical actually was one of the more recent ones was Crisis Core, and that was because I got it for $4 in store. When it was still 40 on the Xbox store. I was like, fair enough. Not even with that, I would.
Last of Us Part 2, which I got for $8 when it was still full price when it released.
Yeah.
That was the only time. Only times I've ever done that, and other than that, the occasional Nintendo game, because you can actually get a discount on physical Nintendo media, but you can't get a discount on digital Nintendo media. So,
honestly, I mean, I get why, because we are looking at a full digital era, right?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I was surprised that the Series X still had a disk drive.
Yeah.
I would have assumed, hey, we rather bring down the price $100 and release a digital only Series X. I was surprised about that.
What happened to that anyway? Because they still have a digital
Yeah,
only.
but that one came out later. That came at launch when the Series X came out in 2020. It didn't. There was no digital. The Series S was digital only.
Yeah.
But the Series X digital only version came out. I want to say 2 years later or so.
Yeah, I've got a really big feeling that these next consoles from PS6 and Xbox won't release with
Absolutely.
drive.
Absolutely. So I get why you would want to look into something where people can turn their physical library into a digital library. On the other hand, think about this realistically. How would the logistics work around that? How would that be? You have like your 500 games in discs, these huge disc collection, and you would send it into Microsoft, and they send you a code or whatnot. Like the logistics behind that seems like an impossible thing to do.
It's either that, or once you've put it into your disc into your console, you have the option to transfer this to digital only, and then literally the moment it's done, the disc becomes invalid and you can no longer install it on any other place.
You cannot, like, the disc doesn't have a registry.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not 100% convinced about this move, because I've seen a lot of people being overly excited about this, and I thought, like, yeah, never gonna happen. Dude, this is one of these leaks that is just not going to happen. There is so much logistics behind that, and this would be such an expensive program to do. That what would be the benefit for them? I highly doubt that this will ever come to fruition.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, Dutch, something really interesting happened this week from AMD side of things. You know FSR.
Yeah.
AMD is right now, the latest version of FSR is 4.1. And FSR 1, 2, and 3 have always had the benefit of being hardware agnostic. So basically every hardware could run FSR 2 or 3.
Yeah, because it was software based.
It was really software based, right? But they fall behind NVIDIA's DLSS quite a bit. And so they changed FSR 4 with FSR 4 that strategy, where you definitely had to have the respective NPU to support that. And for that, FSR 4 only ran on RDNA 4 architecture GPUs, right? NVIDIA came out this week and announced that they have found a way to bring FSR 4.1 to the RDNA 3 architecture, meaning you have to have at least FP8 capabilities, but with that you can utilize that on RDNA 3 chips, which is fantastic, because the jump from FSR 3 to 4 was quite significant with the AI support of upscaling. They were able to reduce a lot of artifacts, get a much better image quality, significantly better image quality, right? Yeah. Better denoisers, less motion blur, significantly reduced artifacts in especially fine details you could see on leaves and such, or grass. And so you always had these flickering artifacts, right? And they were able to really improve that image quality. Now that comes to RDNA 3, which is fantastic, especially for someone who loves to play on the ROG Xbox LE, right?
Yeah.
But they didn't stop there. They said in early 27, they will bring that also to RDNA 2 chipsets. And that suggests that the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, for that matter, will get a
hardware-based upscaling.
Hardware-based upscaling, but also like a significant boost, general significant boost, which is fantastic to see. And this time, because we've sometimes had these kind of news bits, right, over the last couple of years where, they improved DirectX storage and this will boost the Xbox, and was really not noticeable for anyone. But with FSR 4.1, there's a fair chance to really see an improvement, if the games will support it, of course, right? And that on the by then 7-year-old hardware, which I think is really, really a great move. There's also something that comes up in this discussion again. They've been very specific about this will only work on RDNA 2 architectures. Remember this old discussion when 6 years ago, when the Series X and PS5 came out, where everyone was like, PlayStation 5 really doesn't have the RDNA 2, full on RDNA 2. It was considered like more RDNA 1.5 or something. And as it turns out, in this case, it actually matters. Couple of hardware-focused channels like Kepler were going into that, and we're looking at what can PlayStation 5 do in terms of tops, right? And they came out at 8 point something. Some said 8.2, 8.4 tops maximum at FP8. While the Series X can perform at 41 million tops. So that would definitely give the Series X a significant boost, up to 2 times better upsampling, higher frame rates when supported with FSR 4.1. And I thought this was a really interesting thing. And it turns out, and I learned something this week, I did not know that, PlayStation or Xbox has a significantly better support of FSR in their SDKs. PlayStation supported at FSR 2.1 to support it in their development kit, because then they said, okay, we do not support that anymore. We do our own thing with PSSR. Which is only available on PlayStation 5 Pro, though, right? The FSR support on Xbox SDK is significantly better, and there is no reason to believe that Sony will go back to update their development kits for a better support or a support at all of FSR 4.1. So, and even if they do, again, 8 million versus 41 million tops is a significant difference, a really significant difference. And so there's definitely something to talk about here. Dutch, what are your thoughts before I give my spiel?
Yeah, well, it's sometimes the long ball strategy works. I think it's going to be nice, but I think the only issue we've got here is it's maybe too little, too late for the Series X.
Yes.
We've come to the end of a life cycle.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
But some of the older games that do support FSR, you can go back and play in better quality, etc. when it does come around.
If the developers choose to implement it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, a little bit too little, too late. It's an interesting concept, though, and of course, we know, like you say, because of the capabilities of each machine and what they can do, that it will actually benefit the Xbox more than the PlayStation. But again, I don't think the vast majority of developers are going to go back and say, okay, now let's like re-add something into it after the fact, and say, okay, now we'll enable support for this new FSR. On these older titles, the vast majority won't bother.
Yeah.
But going forward, of course, I think it's something for PlayStation to take note of, because, as you've mentioned, PSSR is only available in the PS5 Pro and not in the PlayStation 5. So making sure they've got enough capabilities for FSR going forward into the next machine is probably more the focus here.
Yeah. I mean, if we're talking early 27, we are about half a year away from the launch of the next generation. Project Helix, almost certain November 27, right? Like you said, it will not move a needle in terms of like install base or sales, and when people look at it and decide which console to get. Will it make a difference there? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because that's all next gen talk by early next year, right? The Xbox will have announced the Project Healy at full by then, and everyone's going to look forward to it. It's still, with everything we know so far, Project Helix being super expensive and so on, I fully expect that the cross-generational period will be significantly longer than it even was this gen. And it was a long-ass time where we were talking about cross-gen when the Series X came out.
Yeah.
This generation really didn't start until 23, if we are honest. But so I think it's a great thing for those people that do already have the Xbox Series X. I think you would assume like bigger titles like GTA 6 will get an update or something. Would be surprised if not, right? And for the existing owners of a Series X, it will absolutely be a benefit, right? Not so much on the PlayStation. But will it move the needle? Again, that's way too late into the generation, and that will be decided next gen then with what it can do there, right? But still, I think it's fantastic. It's also fantastic to see that RDNA 3 is supported as of early as next month, right? For Xbox LE owners, an absolutely fantastic news thing. And it is interesting to see that eventually, even if it won't move the needle anymore, it pays off that Xbox has invested in a, at the time, future-proof architecture, right? And didn't go compromises on chipset. Unfortunately, again, a little too late in the generation. But for us that do have the Xbox Series X, and for those that will not be able to transition over into Project Helix right away, I think this could really be a great benefit to to not get better image quality, but also better frames. Because FSR 4.1 really is a big step above FSR 3. Is it already on the same level as DLSS? No, not. But it is the biggest step FSR has taken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. It needs to be in order to get on par with DLSS. It needs to be. It needs to be hardware based.
Yeah.
Going forward, software is nice. It's good for software is good for lower based hardware.
Yeah.
Like this, for instance.
Yeah.
But not so much for high powered consoles where you don't really see the true benefits of it unless it's a hardware based.
Absolutely. All right, Dutch. Before we get to the community questions, one more thing. And I've seen this online, that Gears of War E-Day has landed a sponsorship with WWE. And that sponsorship hints at a September slot for Gears E-Day.
September. Ooh. Oh, that's good.
That's good, man. I was surprised about that because I would have thought they would position that a little later in the year.
They also probably want to get ahead of
GTA, yeah.
And usually in September there would be a Forza, but we've got Forza this month.
We got Forza this month. I'm still in the mindset of Halo will be launching in June within the showcase window.
July.
Either it's a out now thing or out in 2 weeks thing, but somewhere.
Fable be the December winter.
Yeah, that's the question now. If Gears is really September, as this sponsorship with WWE suggests, where would you position that? I mean, Fable needs room to breathe. It's there. I mean, there's an entire generation that has never seen a Fable game. So this is basically new IP, right?
Yeah.
And it is one of their biggest games in a long time. I mean, yes, you can argue Forza, and yes, you can argue Gears.
Yeah.
The difference is Gears has been around for a long time, and it always has been around, right? I mean, every couple of years we got a new Gears game. Like every 4 or 5 years or so, we got a Gears game, but haven't had a proper Fable in like, when did Fable?
360.
Yeah, 360 days, so 15 years or so. And it is made by Playground, this massive open world, third person action RPG that has the potential to be a really heavy hitter. So you kind of want to place that carefully. With this juggernaut, I mean, November is gone. You cannot release anything in November.
Nope.
And December, is a gamble. I mean, they did it with Indiana Jones, right? I'm not sure if that really helped Indiana Jones. I mean, it's not like it was a failure or anything, but did it reach its heights that it could have had if it would have come out in September?
I don't know, because I don't know whether or not Indiana Jones in the modern audience has got the same reach that it did for our generation.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm just saying December is risky. December is a risky point. I mean, you could argue GTA has been out already for a month or so then. And the first...
I mean, we could be completely taken by surprise entirely and have Halo release release December, and Fable release June. It could be completely, not June, July. It could flip the script because Halo is such a small campaign. In retrospect, everybody's played it. It's just a case of it's being redone for the first time. It's not so much of a big deal as it is anything else. We could flip the script. They could have Fable releasing not long after showcase season and Halo after the fact. I think they're expecting as well. Is it not Fable or something that's getting a little bit more of an extended this year?
That is a very interesting train of thought. I haven't thought about this, but actually this could work. I mean, if the games are ready. This is pure speculation right now, but I think from a pure release schedule, that would absolutely be something, because June, July is dry anyway. People would be like, I don't have anything else to play anyway. We know that
would make more sense to me than Halo, because Halo, like I say, it's a lot of people have already played it before. The only ones that haven't a PlayStation.
It's true.
Diehards.
And you could definitely
it's only a campaign. It's not like it's the multiplayer.
It doesn't have the same legs like Gears. It is not as massive of a game. I mean, we will be finished with Halo Campaign Evolved in 12 to 15 hours, right?
Yeah.
You could easily squeeze that also even in November and bring it out really at the anniversary celebration, right? The Xbox will turn 25 in November, and even with the GTA out there, I could see that being a thing. And with Halo, they are probably not relying on, this needs to be super duper successful.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's an interesting train of thought. Man, how crazy would that be if this will happen? That they will bring, let's say, July Fable, September Gears, October Call of Duty, and then Halo somewhere in November for the 25th anniversary celebration. Interesting. And I mean, Fable...
That makes more sense to me.
Yeah, Fable has gotten so many delays.
When we guessed something, it comes to life, so...
Yeah, we've been on a roll lately. Interesting. Let's see. Again, showcase season is around the corner. Gonna be interesting. Gonna be very interesting to see. All right, Dutch, let's move to the community questions of the week. Usually, each and every Wednesday, people can write in. This week, I put the posts up on Friday, the day before the podcast. People can write in. Our community can write in questions. We do not lock that behind a paywall on Patreon or something. So everyone can write in questions. I put up posts here on YouTube, on Twitter, and everywhere. And you guys can write in questions, topics, whatever you would like us to discuss. And the first one of this week comes from Charles Wilson, who would... It's not really a question, it's more of a proposal for a topic to discuss. Forza Horizon 6 got a Metacritic of 92.
Yeah.
And he wants us to discuss this, and I want to extend the question. Game of the Year. Would it deserve... It has been the highest rated game of 2026 so far.
We know how this works. It's not going to get Game of the Year. It's going to get Racing Game of the Year. It's going to get Sports Game of the Year.
It will. I mean, GTA will get Game of the Year, no doubt.
Yeah.
So that discussion is super boring. The question is, will it be nominated for Game of the Year?
No.
I doubt it too.
I can't remember any sports game ever being nominated in the main category.
Let me think, but I can't think of one either. It's unfortunate because I think Forza has been so high quality, and let's face it, it is probably the best racing game out there. Period.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll all agree to that.
Yeah. UK Desert says same shit every time a Forza game comes out, lol. Yeah, it's a repeating discussion. Every time a Forza game comes out, people discuss it. Should be at least in the nomination tier. It gets the reviews to do so. A Metacritic of 92, highest rated game of the year so far, and the first half of the year is almost over, right? There's no reason why it shouldn't be nominated, and still it gets ignored every time. So yeah, I highly doubt it. Yeah. I highly doubt it.
As much as, like you say, as much as it deserves a shout in the main category,
yeah.
It'll never happen.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate. So
because you know it's going to be littered with like Sony games, even though they've only brought one out. They're going to find a reason to put one in.
True.
Marathon will be in there for some reason, even though it's terrible.
I mean, people that do play Marathon do enjoy it.
Nominated, even though no one talks about it.
Dude, I've read Saros achieved only 300 copies sold in the first 2 weeks.
300?
300,000.
Oh, I was going to say. That is bad.
The 3 people that bought our game. Yeah, no. 300,000, of course, I mean. 300K.
Yeah, still not great.
Still not great.
I kind of expected that because the first title that they brought out by them, Housemarque, is it not?
Yeah, Housemarque.
Was like 1 million, 2 million total max. I think it did 1.5 million or something.
Yeah, I remember like after a year, it was sitting at around 1 million. I don't know where it ended up now in 26, but yeah, it wasn't really a successful game. And this one is set out to do even worse. I've read that if it continues at the sales rate, it will not even break even. It will be a loss for Sony. And I can't talk about the game. I haven't played it. I've played Returnal.
I've played Returnal and I know what to expect.
Yeah, not good.
Which is why I don't want it.
I didn't enjoy that at all.
Nope.
And it is, I mean, I don't want to say it's not a quality game per se. It was just not for me.
Not for me.
However, it's such a super niche game, and it's such a super niche genre. I'm really not surprised. I'm really not that surprised.
Yeah.
All right, and the next question, or also more of a topic suggestion, comes in from Catharsis, and he writes, the speed of updates for Crimson Desert. The speed of updates, patches, addition, fixes, and meeting player requests in Crimson Desert is way too underrated. The first time ever of both a single player and games as a service title this happens. Should this be the new standard? It absolutely should be. And I'm with you there. I don't think they get enough praise for how reactive they are. There's barely a week going by where they do not release major patches, additions, changes based on player feedback. And I mean, the game is now out for 2 months and they still do that. Right? The support for Crimson Desert has been absolutely bench.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Not even, honestly, like he says, not even games as a service titles, where you would kind of expect that the game evolves on a fast pace lane, right? Do that. It is absolutely outstanding. Next question comes in from Esky Boy. And Esky asks this: do you think Xbox will hold some games back from PlayStation going forward so that they have some exclusives to brag about?
Yes. Which ones they do will be, I think, based on how sales have panned out for some of the titles that they've put over. They'll kind of have a good understanding of the demographic now to say, okay, which games performed, which games didn't perform, which make the most financial sense to have multi-platform, which don't. And judging by sales performance on PlayStation, games like Indiana Jones, games like Starfield, things like that, monetarily did not perform where they needed to be. So what's the point of putting them over now? You're talking like a couple of 100,000 units for each one of them.
Yeah.
For games of that magnitude, what is the point? Like, what is the point? So then it makes more sense to say, okay, we'll withhold Elder Scrolls 6 when that releases, because we'll give Starfield, but that didn't really do much. We'll give Indie, that didn't really do much. We give like other first-party single-player titles, and they didn't really do much. The only ones that have actually done well are Sea of Thieves and Forza Horizon.
Yeah. Yeah, but then especially those who do well apparently are the ones that someone on the other platform that you want to bring over into your ecosystem, right, is interested in. So especially bringing those over doesn't make sense if you want to have a pull factor. And that's
I understand that, but on the flip side, they have to, again, what they've said is they need to look at it from an analytical perspective. They need to look at all avenues of it. And if that is the case, they will be looking at how successful the certain titles have been. So in my mind, the route that they will take is, right, Sea of Thieves done well, Grounded did relatively well, Forza Horizon did well, but these are big community games that have had continuous updates and progress and such and such and such. And they're also good streaming games and always have been good streaming games, which is why they do well. On the flip side, single player games have not. So it's a good chance that in the future, in my perspective, of course, even though we know the likes of Fable, etc., is going across, we will probably not see the next one of those go over, and probably not see an Elder Scrolls go over, and not see such and such, because as much as they shout from the rooftops, oh, we need to bring it over because these are the games that everybody wants on the other platform, that's not been proven in numbers. The only ones that have been proven in numbers, as I've mentioned, are your Sea of Thieves and
Forza. Yeah.
Because of its mass appeal. And by mass appeal, I mean it's racing cars, open racing cars, and they've proven to be the best in the genre.
Yeah.
Which is why it's done well. And as much as we would say, well, that's why you need to keep it on platform. If it's doing 4 or 5 million sales on the other platform, you can't, because that makes financial sense to put it there. Whereas the others just don't at all. No matter how big the names are, like your Starfields or Elder Scrolls or etc., they've proven putting them on the other platform hasn't worked out. It hasn't worked out financially. It hasn't worked out by your numbers.
Obviously, yeah. We've all seen, and we talked about this on the podcast as well, about the sales numbers of all these games. And again, outside of Sea of Thieves and Forza, nothing has really performed numbers-wise. Where you come to the question, is that worth sacrificing your identity, right? Then again,
the only other way I can see it going is these big titles that do perform well, you continue to have a delayed drop for those ones to have a
I don't think timed exclusivity works. There's nothing.
Usually I would agree, but both Sea of Thieves and Forza kind of went against that rhetoric. But only for those two titles, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Those two titles still had the...
Why would you do timed exclusives? Again,
because it's still...
Any sort of exclusivity has the one target to sell consoles. or sell at least your ecosystem. Get your people to buy the game on PC in your storefront. Get to buy that on console in your storefront. It's always about this.
A year later, though. If it's a year later, it's a big difference.
Can you give me one example in the entire history of video games where you could argue timed exclusivity has helped to sell your ecosystem or console?
Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Not a system seller. Bad example. Yeah, but it's a bad example because at the time nobody knew it was a timed exclusive.
Yeah.
It was, that's the thing. As soon as people know it's a timed exclusive, it doesn't matter. It really does not matter. And so that's the tricky part about all this exclusivity thing. Xbox has really put themselves in a super awful position.
And that's also why I say it'll be based on the net performance.
And that is the worst thing they could do. It is the worst thing that they can do. If you do it on a case by case.
No, not case by case. Essentially, okay, we've released all these games on the platform now. We know how certain types of games perform. So going forward, it's not case by case. Going forward, the only games that we're going to release on this console are going to be Forza Horizon, another Sea of Thieves that releases. Basically your gas games. The gas games.
Then it's a case by case. Where do you put in Gears then? Where do you put Gears? Gears is, it's not a games as a service, but it is an ongoing multiplayer game.
Yeah, if they segment it like Halo did with Halo Infinite, where you had the campaign and then Halo Infinite Online separately.
Too complicated. Way too... Listen, if you want... The only reason to do exclusives is to sell your ecosystem again. Yeah? I think we agree there. So you have to send a clear message. These are games that you can only play on Xbox. And you need to buy into our ecosystem if you want to play Gears, if you want to play Fable, if you want to play, I don't know.
Boxy, I 100% agree with you. The issue is I've got to think of it.
I know. But and now comes the problem with it. I'm being devil's advocate. I do agree. I do agree that from the pure on an Excel spreadsheet, it makes absolutely sense to bring Forza Horizon over to PlayStation because you will sell 4 or 5 million units over there. That's a lot of money on the table if you do not do that. But then obviously those are your biggest pull factors. Those are the games that might be the reason why someone on PlayStation, maybe not 4 or 5 million, but someone on PlayStation said, oh man, Forza Horizon, I really want to play that. I'm going to get an Xbox to play that. Yeah. And then I can also play a Fable because that's also not available on my console, or a Gears because that's also not available on my console. Those are the big games with the biggest pull factor. As soon as you have one single exception outside of Call of Duty, you will never ever be able to transport that message of you have to buy an Xbox if you want to play great games. It will be with every game, it's probably just a timed exclusives, and knowing Xbox, how they flip-flop on their strategy, these articles are correct. It could fully be, if you announce today Gears is going to be console Xbox only, you could still argue, but is this still true a year from now? Is it really Xbox? Is it really? So if you go back to exclusives, and this is the difficult thing for them, you have to be absolutely behind it. No exceptions. No multiplayer games, no games as a service titles. Your games are your games, your ecosystem, PC, Xbox console. And there has has to be absolutely clear that the days of Halo on PlayStation are over. If you ever want to go back. And the problem is you need to have a long breath to do that, because the problem is it will not matter this gen. Not at all. No. Even if they would course correct today, if Asher comes out on Monday and announces, yeah, this whole multi-platform strategy was a mistake, we are going back fully exclusives, and Gears is not going to come out, and Forza is not going to come out, and Halo is not going to come out. Even if they would do that, it's the end of the gen. People have settled already in.
Yeah, exactly.
So it wouldn't really matter. So it would matter for next gen. We are going back to, okay, these games are not coming to PlayStation anymore. By then, they already had 3 years of multi-platform strategy. To course correct that takes a long time until people notice, oh, they are serious about this. Fable really isn't coming, or Elder Scrolls 6 really isn't coming to PlayStation. If I want to play it, I really have to think about this. This takes time, and it takes a long time, because then that's the next thing. When will they release the next system seller after this year? They have this year a killer year, unprecedented in Xbox territory, with Gears, Fable, Halo, Forza, the Four Horsemen. Next year, they will have State of Decay 3. They will have Clockwork Revolution. All great games that I am really looking forward to, but none of those are system sellers. A State of Decay, Blade, yeah, if it's 27, maybe. It really depends on what kind of game Blade will be, because let's face it, their previous games have been great games, but they haven't had the AAA status, the shiny game that everyone, the blockbuster title.
If it's in line with a Spider-Man-esque game, more of an open world type of thing. Yep.
But again, the developers' previous games never have been in that territory. It's a little bit similar like to the Obsidian games. Listen, last year Obsidian nailed it. We're in between Avowed, Grounded 2, and Outer Worlds 2. 3 really, really good games. None of those would be considered AAA games. None of those would be considered a system seller. A Fable would be considered that. A Gears would be considered that. Forza Horizon obviously is considered that. So this is what I mean. If you course correct in a year, next year, with State of Decay and a Clockwork, and maybe a Blade, it wouldn't mean anything, because none of those.
Of course not.
None of it. So exactly. Then you need to wait another year, where you might have then games like an Elder Scrolls, which would be considered a system seller. But one system seller is not enough. That's the point.
You know what? I think although it wouldn't make a difference if they did course correct now, what it would do was set get everybody used to the idea again. So even if even if they did course correct now, then
I agree.
Right, okay, at least going into next gen, we know what to expect.
Yeah.
Because this year, the games have all been exclusive.
Yeah. But then I would assume, I mean, Forza and Fable and Halo have already been announced to come out. Fable apparently day and date. Forza Horizon a little delayed.
Whatever.
Halo day and date. They will not pull that. Already announced games for PlayStation. This would be crazy if they do that. Gears is the one that they haven't talked about bringing it to PlayStation. So maybe they say, okay, the already announced games for PlayStation, we will bring those out, and then that's it. And starting with Gears, we are not doing multi-platform anymore. Maybe that happens. And And in that case, I agree with you. It helps to set the narrative straight up until the release of next gen, where it then would really matter, right?
Yeah.
But
That's ultimately all they can do, because, like you say, it doesn't have an impact on this gen. This gen's gone.
Yeah.
What it will do is just at least set the narrative, sort of going into the next gen, going,
Yeah.
right, now we know what the deal is going
Yeah.
into the next gen.
Yeah. Because the media. Media will take years to adjust to that. Okay. Dutch, final question of the day comes from none other than the Big Bridge. Exactly. The Big Bridge question of the week. Hey, Boxy and Dutch, have a happy podcast. You are organizing a band concert, but you get suddenly what's that word? Isekai'd into a fantasy world, beamed into a fantasy world.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you are organizing a band concert and you suddenly get beamed into a fantasy world inside a video game of your choice. Which video game would you like to be teleported to, and would you still hold the concert? The Artful Escape, Dutch.
Yeah, Artful Escape.
Artful Escape.
Strictly for the music.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm playing the guitar anyway, so...
They've also got Cyberpunk, because they've also got a very metal approach to that game.
Oh, yeah? That would also be good.
With a big, like, I wouldn't say big rock concert, but a rock concert near the tail end of the game.
Yeah, that's true. Brutal Legend.
Oh god, yeah. Bring back Brutal Legend 2.
Yes, please.
Get Jack Black in.
What has he been doing all these years, man? We need Brutal Legend 2.
I'm intrigued to see what Double Fine have got for their main game.
Yeah, me too. You think we see it at the showcase?
Hopefully.
I'm not sure.
Hopefully. I wouldn't say yes, but hopefully. They've released 2 smaller games this year.
2? Kiln and
the Lighthouse game.
Oh, yeah, but that was last year.
Was it? Oh,
yeah,
God.
that was last year.
I feel, was that not January?
No. That was, I want to say August last year. Keeper release. October, yeah. October 17th. Yeah, that was last year. Yeah, so I'm not sure. They already have they are a fairly small studio, and I know they talked about having all these side projects, Keeper and Kiln, and so on, but still, that's like 2 games within 6-7 months, and so I'm not sure if they are ready to talk about their big project yet. But then, on the other hand, it has been a while since Psychonauts 2, that was in 2020, right? So who knows? Who knows, man? We will definitely do a prediction show closer to the showcase, a day or 2 days before that, as we always do. We won't have a podcast the week before, though. I'm on family vacation that week.
I'll probably, because it'll be on a weekend, I'll probably stream just by myself. I'll probably just stream the showcase just by myself. It'll be one of my first streams in a long time.
Yeah, you do that. And then we do a podcast right after the show here to break that down. And we'll do a prediction show a day or 2 before that.
Yes.
As we always do. Right, Dutch? That brings us to an end of this week's World of Gaming. I want to say a big thank you to our awesome community, everyone who tuned in here today. who listened after the fact on Spotify, Apple Podcast. Big thank you. Unregular slot this week on a Saturday.
Yep.
So Spotify and Apple Podcast version won't be up before Sunday. But yeah, it's been a blast. And again, a big thank you, Dutch, before we would let everyone out of here. Anything you would like to address?
Nope. Nope, pretty straightforward for me. I'm just going to be chilling out, and because I'm slightly back into the gaming groove, playing a little bit more games and playing through some of these indie games and seeing if I can get any of them finished. I'm probably going to go mainly for Planet of Lana, Replayed, and Call of the Elder Gods, I think, is me.
Sweet.
3 little indie games.
Sweet.
Complete.
I'll be playing a lot more Forza Horizon, and probably as well.
I'll be playing that on Tuesday.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that properly on
Thursday.
on the next podcast.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Some footage by then.
Yeah, I only recorded about an hour, so I started the podcast with an hour of Forza Horizon. I need to record more though, and I will definitely do that. But until then, we hope to see you back next Thursday, regular time slot. Go play some games, enjoy your weekend, and don't forget to game on.